fantastic game of football that just ended up. Loads of positives. VAR should have been notified for the fouling of Hatate says. What a game of football that turned out to be. So many talking points. Who was it that said before the half time that Luke McCown couldn't score for Celtic, and then also a certain player that would never be a Celtic striker, and he pops up and scores with a head. And I've got to say, Johnny Kenny's goal, I'm going to say it, that was awfully like, it was really like a Chris Sutton type header. So fair play to Johnny Kenny for getting his first goal for Celtic. Absolutely buzzing for him. 8 changes. Wee Jimmy's shitting it for the final. 8 changes, and we absolutely bossed them. Absolutely bossed Aberdeen. When you look at the team and all the changes that were made, one standout for me is the player that came on with 10 minutes to go. Young McArdle, that flick for that young lad, 17-year-old, he cannot be put out on loan next season. Celtic cannot put that young guy out on loan to get game time. They need to keep him in and around the first team. At 17-year-old, he's good enough to play for Celtic. He does not need to go out on loan. That touch for the young lad shows a player that is confident, and a player, he was unlucky with the shot that he had at goal also. He could have had his first goal for Celtic, but the first goal did come for Johnny Kenny. Absolutely fantastic header. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful piece of business. But anyway, let's jump into the comments and to see who's all online after that. Record-breaking goal from... We now have 3 players that are on 20 goals a season. 20 goals a season. Adam Eder scored to make it 20 goals for Adam Eder. Adam Eder's been getting a lot of stick. And you've got to remember, the goals that Adam Eder has scored, he's only played about half the season. You know, when you look at it, he's only really played half the season. Goal tally. What are we on for goal tally? I need to see. Let me just get this screen up. See if Google's managed to catch up. Yep, they have. The stats for the game are unbelievable, as you would expect. Actually, it's unbelievable. We had 25 shots in total. 25 shots in total. We had 14 shots on target. The possession, we had 70% possession. I thought it was a bit more than that. We had 743 passes. The pass accuracy was sitting at 90%. There was 2 fouls and 2 offsides. 6 corners for Celtic. But what it does do, it puts us on goals for the season. 111 goals. 111. I'd finish the number of that. I'd just keep it at 111 for the season. But that's not going to happen because we've got one more game this weekend. Can we finish on 116? Can we score another 5 goals at the weekend? Goals against for the season sitting at 25. Goal difference is 86. Celtic are currently sitting on 91 points. When we look at the other half of the league, our Rangers are sitting on 74, Hibernian on 57, Aberdeen on 53, and Dundee United are now on 50 points. Dundee United with St Mirren now only 1 point behind them. Dundee United need 3 points to jump above Aberdeen. They play Aberdeen in their next game this weekend. Dundee United... could have made it a bit closer, but honestly, when you look at Narowski getting the first goal in the 31st minute, Yang getting in with his goal, Luke McCown getting a goal also, and he was getting some stick at half time, Johnny Kenny getting his goal, Adam Eder doing what he does best, poaching. I'm still, the way that we've played, I thought James Forrest was great tonight. Yep, and it's good to see Jamesy Forrest finally getting his own song, even though it's a Jimmy Johnson song. And I was just hoping that he could have got a shot away and got it on target. He'll be absolutely gutted. He'll be gutted the fact that he didn't slip that ball over the keeper's leg and get it into the net. He put it just past early on in the game. Glasgow will be a war zone as Saturday, Baz. I think you're playing it down. Huns will be all over the centre there, unfortunately. No, they'll not. No, they'll not. No, they'll not. Considering there's going to be, I mean, I'll go to the Tron Gate and then I'm not going into the city centre after it. I'll go to the Tron Gate party. They're not going to try and attack 20,000 Celtic fans, are they? They're not that brave. What do we need to do to get Jamesy on the score sheet? I was hoping that somebody was going to go down on the box, to be perfectly honest. I think McArdle's a prospect. Is he a prospect at 17? He's not a prospect. He's not a prospect. Young McArdle getting the game time that he got today, Celtic cannot put him out on loan. You have to keep him in and around the first team. He's good enough to play in the first team at Celtic. Keep him in it. Some of his touches were absolutely fantastic. He almost had a goal. He hits it straight at the keeper. I thought, yeah. Heard the guy on BBC saying that we've equalised for the record most goals scored in a season since 1967. I think it's around about the 1970s since we've had 3 players on 20 goals a season. Which is hats off to Brendan Rodgers pushing for these. And it does make you worry though, that going into next season, how do we pass this? How do we score even more goals? And how can we get this team even better? Can it get better? Of course it can get better. It can always get better. You can start winning every single game 5-0, 5-1. Joseph says, "Here with Baz, standing alone point where he's running and goes inside the ball." I thought the referees were and VAR was terrible tonight. I mean, Jamesy Forrest gets taken out on the line. Nico Kuhn gets taken out right on the byline. Nothing happened. But anyway, it is what it is, isn't it? As long as we're scoring 5 goals, the VAR can do whatever they like, because get your money on James Forrest at Parkhead for a goal, says Mikey. If it's not a goal, I think that you'll get a few players trying to manufacture penalties. That's all I'm going to say. Is it written in this? Rio Hatate going down and getting that really bad tackle. Nothing done for it again. And Rio Hatate walking off with ice around his knee. Kaiser says, delighted for Johnny Kenny, gutted for Hatate, but the second string tied the noose. They did that. Hatate going off with the ice on his leg. Irishman Porter says, Baz, I don't agree, mate. I think that playing 20 or 30 minutes of match and training, and maybe 10-15 minutes, 10 matches. But can he get right? Here's the thing, right? If he goes to a team and he gets some game time, is he going to be playing at a high enough level? My thinking behind keeping young McArdle at Celtic is you get him on, rather you introduce him the way that Brendan's done at this end of the season. You get him 10 minutes. You start introducing him for more than 10 minutes. We can do it throughout the beginning of the season. You know, there's a lot of games through the first half of the season. If he's as good as what they think he's going to be, you can't put him out on loan. You can't go down the road that Callum McGregor went, try and get him to a club down south at a decent level. I don't want him going to Admiral Wacker. I don't want him going to Dunfermline or something like that. I don't want him going to a lower league in England or Scotland. He has to go to somewhere that's a decent level to get the game time. But then the problem being is, because he's 17-year-old, is do other clubs take him on loan and go, he's just a kid. Do you know what I mean? He's just a kid. And this is where Celtic then have the problem. Does that then stifle his progression? Because other clubs will look at him and say, no, he's just a kid. He's got to go down the leagues. You know, he's not ready for this level. If Celtic think he's ready for this level, they need to keep him at Celtic and bring him on 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, and then start gradually increasing it. He looked as if he fitted right well into that team tonight. It'll be interesting to see what Celtic do with him next season. Massive summer for that young lad. Something today says the sheep must be shitting themselves for the first team. Look at Mikey Johnston. Mikey Johnston though. Mikey Johnston hit his level. He hit the level. He was never going to get better. Mikey Johnston was the same player that he was when he was 18. He never improved as a player. And that's the problem. That is the issue. But even when he went away and came back, he still couldn't force his selling to the team. This young lad looks the real deal for me. But then what do I know? Notice that he didn't do the lap of honour. He sat to watch the game. He walked straight down the tunnel, down the side of the stadium to the tunnel. He's not going to do the lap of honour. His knee was in ice. So, yeah, exactly, Kaiser. Jamal's just a kid. Exactly. If you're good enough, you're old enough. Yep. Mike Tyson was a kid knocking out men. Exactly. It's all about blending in the youth, says Lanky, and bedding in the players gradually. You know, the setup. You know the Celtic way. They probably will. Chris Boyd says signs are bad for the rest of Scottish football if Celtic reserves can hit 5 for Aberdeen. I don't think any has seen us. Hatate walks down the touchline with ice strapped to his knee. So let's hope that he's okay for the weekend. Not just the weekend, let's hope he's okay for the final. But we'll wait and see. But when you see the team and the way that they played, I did say it was a big night. I think the only player for me that maybe never got great pass marks tonight was Jeffrey Sloop. He did have one shot late on in the game. Paulo Bernardo did what he does. James Forrest was just James Forrest all day long. Yang, he got pass marks. He's a player that's coming onto a game. Johnny Kenny getting his first goal for Celtic after, who was it that said it at half time? Johnny Kenny's never going to be a Celtic player. That means we won't sell Hatate during the summer. Because it was only a knee knock. It's nothing too serious. He had ice on it. If it was really bad, he would have had it on one of those knee protector things, the same as what Alistair Johnston had a few weeks ago. But he was just ice. There you go. Oh dear. Yep. You can never underestimate younger players. I still say that header was just like a Chris Sutton header. He took it so well and he placed it into the corner. Absolutely brilliant. Hope that is alright. Bit of a Snyder look. It was that, wasn't it? Just do this. I'm not going to get to here. That's not what I wanted to press. Forest on the wing chant was good. The Forest on the wing, I thought that was great to get that chant going for Jamesy Forrest. Can he get a goal? Can he get the goal in the final game? The final game of the season. It's all written. Is it written in the stars? Final game of the season, Celtic Park. I did say that James Forrest would get the full 90 minutes to allow him to give the opportunity to try and score a goal. But he didn't do it. He just didn't do it. Meyer Plunage, Schlupp was rubbish. McCowan was rubbish. Johnny Kenny was rubbish. Yang played well and got taken off to Jim McClarty. I think Jim McClarty was watching a different game. I've got to say that. Kenny will be better than Adam Ida in the fullness of time. That's an interesting one. Will he be better than Adam Ida? I found myself quite impressed with the big Papa Shango before he injured Hatate. It's written in the stars. Cup final, Jamesy Forrest to score the winner. He needs to score in the league. He needs to score in the league. He needs to score this weekend at Celtic Park. And I think that's he needs to score in the league for the record. If Aberdeen end at Hampden, it's half empty at half time. Celtic fans get a discount for the second half. Aberdeen fans couldn't find their stadium tonight. There's one. Who got the man of the match? I would have given it to Forrest. Says Chilpill. I think Forrest would have been man of the match. I don't think there's anybody else that put in a shift that he did. Have we beat the 100 goals, 6 goals? Yes, we are sitting on. Where is it? Just go back here. Sit on the table. We're sitting on 111 goals for the season. 111 goals for the season. With 37 games played, we've had 129. We've drawn 4. We've lost 4. We've got 111 goals for, 25 goals against. Gives us a goal difference of 86 with 91 points. 3 points still to play for. I think Brendan Rodgers was hoping to get over the 100-point mark. I think he'll be devastated that we never got over the 100-point mark. That would just be one of the targets that he had for the season. When you look at the bottom half of the league, St Johnstone, they are definitely going down. St Johnstone have been relegated tonight. They cannot stay up. Ross County are in the relegation playoff. Dundee are in the next spot. Hearts are on 49 points. And Motherwell 48. And Kilmarnock are on 44. So it looks as if it's between Dundee and Ross County for that final spot for the playoff. But who cares about that, because it's all about Celtic and what we can do. And the last 2 games, Seagulls Bars were attacking. Yeah, they were that. Only conceded 25 is great. When you look at the defence this season, only conceding 25 goals all season is absolutely fantastic. And you think, if you think of the criticism that a lot of the players have had, especially the defenders, I mean, Liam Scales gets criticism, Austin Trusty gets criticism, Rocky gets told that he's not been good enough and he's not in the team. Cameron Carter-Vickers is injured throughout the season, and we've still only conceded the 25 goals in total. Playing with a number 2 goalkeeper, playing with a team that is basically your reserve team. Let's not say it anyway. I mean, the players that started the game tonight, Sinisalo, Ralston, Trusty, Rocky, Sloop, McGregor was the only person that will be guaranteed to start at the weekend and guaranteed to start at the final. McCowan, Bernardo, Forrest, Yang and Johnny Kenny. That's your reserve team. That's your B team. When you look at who's sitting on the bench, Schmeichel, Johnson, Taylor, Scales, Adamida, Kuhn, Engels, Hitati and McArdle. You could say that the only player that wouldn't normally be on the bench would have been McArdle, and it would have been Jota that would have been on the bench for that occasion. Young McArdle coming on and doing absolutely brilliant. Never mind one for the future. He is one that cannot be allowed to leave Celtic, no matter what. He cannot be allowed to leave Celtic. Rodgers give youth a chance? Will Rodgers give youth a chance? Will the board back Rodgers, says Colin Martin. I prefer Dundee and Ross County to stay up. Can't stand living in that plastic pitch. Yeah, neither can I. But Livy do give you a big allocation. Just reading these comments that was coming through. Irishman, wee McArdle has time on his hands. Even if he went out on loan and came back, he would still be 18-19. And then tick on and claim his place. Who does he go out on loan to, though? Who does he go out on loan to? This is the issue that we have at Celtic. People will look to take a player on loan, and they'll say, oh, he's only 17, and it's like, well, you're not going to go to. He's not going to go to a team at the bottom of the English Premiership. He's not going to go to a Championship team, because they'll be like, well, we're not giving our own. He's got to be something special. He's not going to go to. I mean, if he goes to Admiral Wacker, he's going to get game time. But is that significant enough test for him? And I don't think that it is. Could he go to Ayr United and go to Scott Brown? Could he go to Dunfermline and Neil Lennon? there's every possibility of that. You know, he may go to Ayr to work with Bruni. He may go to Dunfermline, work with Neil Lennon if they think that he's good enough to play every game. We'll just have to wait and see. Like I say, it's a massive summer for that young lad. Massive, massive summer. If the board don't back Brendan, he'll only do 3 seasons. I've got a feeling that Brendan Rodgers will stay for 4 seasons, purely because of how he left previously. It's not the time to talk about that. We'll talk about that in the summer, whether if he does sign a new contract, it'll be fantastic. But the fear for me is that having meet these targets, having broken these records at Celtic, breaking the goal scoring records, sitting on breaking the goal scoring record for goals at home, sitting on 111 goals for the season, potentially winning the treble. I think if he was to go ahead and win a double or treble next season, I think he would have the right to walk away with his head held high. And if we do well in the Champions League next season, do you know, there's every point that he could turn around and say that I've took the club as far as I can. Can I take the club any further? And I think that that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to be a case of, can he take the club further than what he has? And that's going to be it at the end of the day. The boy could go into loan to Falkirk. Great move for him. That'll be in the SPFL. That won't happen. I don't think he'll go there. He'll go somewhere with Brendan Rodgers and Celtic trust that they will get the best out of him and potential game time. We have to treat him the same way as Barcelona did with young Alex Bailly. They give him to us and said, right, we know you're going to give him game time. If you don't give him game time, we're going to pull the deal. And ultimately, the young lad wanted to go and play with a Barcelona icon. So it's one of those ones. What about Birmingham down south under Chris Davies? There's an option that could be possible. Could be loan Ricardo and Motherwell as part of the Miller deal. Things like that. I tell you one thing, David. That's not a shot in the dark. That one. That's not a shot in the dark. That one. Considering that Miller still has the potential to come to Celtic. Brendan Rodgers did say that he wants to bring in more Scottish talent. There you go. You never know. Anyway, absolutely fantastic scoreline tonight. Celtic dominated. Not even dominated. They absolutely just tore Aberdeen apart tonight. When we look at the game at St Mirren this weekend, it's a 12:30 kickoff at Celtic Park. Celtic won 5-1 away from home again. Can they take 5 off St Mirren at Celtic Park on the last day of the season? And then we'd head off to Hampden Park against Aberdeen. That could be a thriller. It could be one of those thriller finals. It could be one of those finals that people talk about for years and years to come. Kaiser says, Baz, in my opinion, Celtic should be looking to the continents to produce players right now that are untapped. For me, it's the Canadian market. There we go, the Canadian market. Ricardo will do better, will be better than Lennon. Interesting. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this evening. It is 11:30 where I am. I've got an early start in the morning, and then we'll be doing a live first thing tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Celtic Park time. We could talk about what Brendan Rodgers has just said to the media. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening, Celtic fans. The last... sad. It's sad. The last midweek game of the season. Goodbye, my lovers. Goodbye, my friends. You have been... Anyway, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.